Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are talking about why do you ride the motorcycle that you ride. Okay, so I'm going to take a little ride and discuss why do we ride the bikes that we ride. I'm going to put out a challenge today, and at the end I will tell you who I'm challenging to create their own video like this, their motovlog, saying why they ride the motorcycle that they ride. I'm here today on my Honda VTX1300. I'm going to give you a reason why this is the bike that I ride. Actually, I'm going to give you a few reasons why this is the bike that I ride. So I purchased this bike in the summer of 2018. Before that, I had the bike that my son now rides, the Suzuki DR-07, and I purchased this bike because of the fairing that it doesn't have on it right now, and the bags that it doesn't have on right now, and because it's a cruiser bike. Riding here in Nebraska, the majority of the riding that we do is on the highway at 70 miles an hour. I'm out in the country in a small town, and the majority of the ride, anywhere I want to go, I've got to get up to 70 miles an hour. And I was doing that on the Suzuki, and one time I took the Suzuki for about an hour and a half ride, and I got off the bike, and I know it was one of the first long rides I did, so some of it was that, but it was also one of the first times that I rode that bike that far. I rode it an hour, but not an hour and a half, and that extra half hour was like, man, with my legs tucked up underneath me, like you have to on that bike, I was like, man, this is not the type of bike that I want to ride. So, before I go any further, I'm going to pull over at this next mile and make sure everything is recording properly. See that this camera is recording properly. I don't know about this camera exactly, so I'm going to pull over and make sure everything is recording properly. Before we go any further, I'd hate to do this whole vlog and find out things aren't recording. Everything's recording right. Back to the ride. I'm gonna get out of here and get ahead of this guy. Okay. Back at it, and so I got this bike, and at the time I had looked at both the Honda VTX and the Harley Sportster, and I've kind of always wanted a Harley since way back when we lived in Florida, but I didn't get the Harley because of the Sportster type. Wasn't what Sportsters aren't made for long rides. This I thought was more than long rides, and so that's why I got it at the time. And the other biggest reason why I got this bike is because here in Nebraska we can ride, maybe 7 months out of the year. Most of the time it's only about 6 months out of the year you get to ride here because of the cold weather and the snow, and as everyone knows, motorcycles and snow don't match all that well, at least not street bikes. And so the other aspect of why I have a Honda VTX is the price. You know, I wanted a cheaper bike and didn't want to spend more than $5 grand on a bike. But as it comes out, if I would have gotten one bike and not a Sportster and this, then I could have had more than $5,000. But my goal was to spend in the $3,000 range. And that's why I got the bike that I did. Now, my dream has always been to have a bagger. One of those really cool baggers, maybe one with the big wheels on the front of them. I've always thought those were cool. Now, I don't know how practical those kind of bikes are for riding long distances. But after riding this bike a lot last year, I decided to look into the aspect of either turning this bike into a bagger or going through and getting something like a Harley Davidson road glide. Is in my social and in Instagram, I posted about a road glide that I was looking at earlier this week, and why. You know, it was a cheaper bike. It was $9,000 they were wanting for it. The bike, the mileage on the bike is 9,800. So I thought that would be something that, you know, I could grow with for quite a while. And do I spend $5,000 on this bike? You know, probably $5,000 to $8,000 on this bike to fix it up into a bagger, or do I just go to a bike that's already bagged? So some of the things I'd want to do to this bike, if I'm going to make it a bagger, would be to, he's in a hurry, would be to get handlebars that are above, and to get hard bags lower, you know, probably extended bags. I don't know how low, probably a 4-inch drop. I don't want to drop it too far. Had a little itch there with that. Because I still would like to be able to do corners really good. I've not done any corners on this bike yet where I've scraped the bags. When I used to have my Seika 2 in Florida, I would ride it around corners. Most of the riding I did with that bike was in town, and I would ride it around corners and try to scrape the pegs. I'd try to go fast enough that I could turn corners and scrape the pegs. That was a young 20-year-old riding a bike. But I still would like to be able to do corners and not scrape my bags, especially if I go to the effort to do a bunch of things to the bike. So another thing that I'd like to do is to put a batwing fairing on this bike. I don't really need the speakers and infotainment and all that kind of stuff on it, but I would like to have a batwing fairing and have a bagger with a big seat on the back so my wife can ride and be comfortable. So we'll see. But the biggest reason why I have this bike is because of wanting to be able to ride long distances. I need to be able to put some highway pegs on this, do some changes like that to it to make it even more so, but it really wasn't too terribly bad when we rode up to the Sturgis area, up to the Black Hills. last fall. So we have a beautiful day, a beautiful evening. I think I'm going to try to take some pictures of this bike before I head back. A lot of the ground has been planted. There's a few people that have planting still to go, but a large majority of it is already done. Things ain't started coming up yet. We just are coming out of another cold weather spell that we had from last week through this week. So I haven't ridden for about a week now. But I wanted to get out and I wanted to talk about this because I've been really thinking about this whole aspect of why do I ride the bike that I ride, and if I go to a road glide, what is the real value of that? So I am going to challenge Gear Draven, and I challenge Motorcycle Mama, and I challenge Black Top Devil to tell me why you have both of the bikes that you have. And lastly, I'm going to do the triple Husker challenge, and I am going to challenge Stevie Foe to tell us why you ride a Road King and what you love about the Fury. So, thanks everyone for joining me. Till next time, keep the sunny side up, the rubber side down, and have an utterly awesome day.